Hello. Well, taking the last of the copper and modern age long boxes to the LCS I've been working with. And I also brought a box of bronze with me. He wants to take a look at, see maybe if we can make a deal for that as well. And then I brought a couple sets with me. So hopefully he's got some new stuff in, and we'll see what he's got. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, I'm here. So there are the books. And here's the shop. Pretty cool. Anyway, he opens at 4, so I'll be here waiting. See you in a little bit. Hey, time for a week in review. Good week. Weather was weird for us. It was started off the week at like -1, and yesterday it got up to I think 58, and today I got up to about 50s, but by the end of the day it's going to be in the teens, and heavy snow 8 to 12 inches I guess. So it's kind of a strange week, but the week started off great for me. Monday night I watched the national championship game, and team I've been following since I was a little kid. Alabama came out, won in overtime. Super exciting. Even if you don't like football, I guess. It was a great game. I watched it with my son, and we were up. I was up past 1 o'clock Monday night, but just a great way to start the week, and it was just really fun watching that. Of course, I've watched that play that they, 41-yard bomb at the end of the game to win in overtime was really cool, especially because it was freshman to freshman, and it's exciting to think about next year. So. But enough about football and sports, I guess. But if you saw at the beginning, I went to the LCS that I go to. It's a place called Rhino's Comics. Great guy. I think he's a longtime collector, and then opened a store I think 3 years ago. But it's an old, fashioned kind of comic shop that at least I remember being. And it's you can tell it's being run by a guy that cares and is actually a collector himself. So it was great. So what I did is I took the last few boxes of my copper and modern stuff to him, dropped that off, and then I brought a box of bronze with me, bronze books that I have, and we went through it. He looked through it, and he liked what he saw, and everything's bagged, freshly bagged and boarded, alpha, numeric order. Good runs in there, and mostly Marvel. And he made me an offer, and it sounded good, so I'm going to take my boxes of Bronze Age stuff to him that it's more common stuff that I don't want to keep long term. So that was great. And it's weird that, when those are gone, it'll be 25 long boxes gone. So there's 5 left, and I've sold 20 long boxes and 5 left to go. And the cool thing is I got to see them being out, and of all the boxes and stuff that I've brought in, it looks like they're about 1/3 to 1/2 gone already. So he is, a good dealer or shop owner, because he buys them at such a good price, and then he just sells them, at a really inexpensive price. And he's telling me every, weekend guys will come in there and buy a brick, and they'll bring buddies, and to me, it's really cool that my stuff that has been sitting in a closet for a better part of 20 years, and I probably am not going to really do much with, or release back out. So it's kind of a catch and release, I guess, if you're thinking in fishing terms. So I just like the idea that someone else is going to go in there and pull a book out of there that that they've been looking for a long time, and they're all pristine, 9.2 or better. So that's kind of cool that all my books now are going to go out and be in all kinds of other collections. So it's just really cool to me that's the way the collection's going. So, and then he had just gotten in 3 boxes untouched. A lot of them were unbagged. Some of them were in some of the most gross bags you've ever seen. He looks like a guy that collected from the 70s, I'd say, to the late 80s. But really, the bulk of the collection was, I'd say, probably like 70 to like 78, 79. He had some other stuff in there, but weird stuff too. He had a lot of romance books and stuff like that. A lot of war books too. But one thing that caught my eye is he had nearly a full run of Commandy. So, of course, I already took this out and cleaned it up, but this book's in great shape. And he has nearly the full run. So all the way up to 40. The only ones that are missing is 29, which is the Superman costume issue. And that may have been in the boxes and I didn't see it because these were pretty much all in double bags. So what this guy did, and I think a lot of guys did this back in the day, they put them back to back in a single bag. And they're the old polyethylene bags, so they kind of have that viscousy, slimy, not slimy, I don't know what it is. It leaves a film on your fingers, so. But it's pretty cool. I don't know where Jack Kirby ended. I know at one point somebody else was drawing the covers and the interiors were still by him. I think that was around 33, 34. And I'm not sure where Kirby ended on it, but just in the middle of the run, issue 32. It's a giant. I don't know why. Anyway, so that was kind of cool, finding those, and there wasn't really much else in there. I mean, if I was still trying to complete runs, there was some decent stuff in there, but nothing that I had to have. And I came across this, The Brave and the Bold, and there's Batman and Commandy in it. So time-wise, I don't know how that happened, so I got to read that. So I'm sure something to do with time happened. And a couple other books are kind of cool. The Superheroes War Against the Monsters, and I don't know, I didn't even know this existed. It's just, and I've been getting into monster books lately, so I haven't looked at it yet. I just took it out of its sticky bag and put it in a nice bag. I'll read this. It looks pretty cool. It's just such a wacky cover, I had to grab it. And a couple other things I grabbed. They just appealed to me. That was Stan Lee on the cover of Marvel Age. I thought I had this, but I guess I didn't. Those photo covers are just cool to me. And this week, I guess I should mention too, the unsubstantiated accusations against Stan Lee. So that'll be interesting to see what the heck happens with that. It's one of those things you hope it's not true, but you never know. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk about it anymore unless it's fact. And then I picked up a copy of Blitzkrieg #1. I've never read this. I've always liked the cover of it. It's just really cool. Let me get that nice and close so you can look at it. This one is flawless. I'd say it's at least a 9.4, maybe better. Really, really nice copy. And then I picked up something that Charlton66 will appreciate, and in the comments you could tell me what this is. I got it just because the cover is one of the coolest covers I've seen. It's got so much going for it. Anytime you got an atom symbol on a cover, I'll probably buy it. But it is Doomsday #1, and I believe it's from July of 1975. So there's a lot of the flag coolness going on in this cover, and the Statue of Liberty. I think so many creators in the early 70s love that image from Charlton Heston and Planet of the Apes. Very iconic scene, I think. And then this one I just grabbed because it's cool. It's a painted cover. It's a gold key. Twilight Zone. I don't even know what issue number it is. May. I don't know how they numbered their things, but there's really not a number on here. But it's got the gremlins on it. And I thought it was kind of neat that they put Rod Serling on there. And I believe he's from Syracuse or near Syracuse, which isn't too far from me. And I grew up always watching that. The only really flaw in this is that little piece there. I haven't taken it out of this bag yet, but it looks like to me that's just folded. So I'll probably fold it back over. It's just a great book that I want, so I grabbed it. But, I grabbed all those. I grabbed that stack. Just walking through and going through that thing. And then a couple other things I saw. I don't know what this is, but it was up on the counter. And it's this little tiny Fantastic Four book. And I think it's new because they had a couple other ones there. But on the inside is color, super close-ups of some of the early Jack Kirby issues. And then there's also some write-ups in there on different things. And that's one of my all-time favorite Kirby covers, actually. And it has nothing to do with Inhumans. I just like the way they're up close, and in the background you see, well, you can't because Four's in the way, but you can see the Inhumans lurking on that cliff with the moon behind them. It's kind of a neat way they did that too. Everything else is matte except for the logo and the Fantastic Four themselves. And the back has kind of a swipe of issue 1. To my eye, that looks like a Ross painting, but maybe not. So this is just something fun to have. And it goes all the way through. I think almost all the way up to the future, and covers the whole Black Panther thing. So that's kind of cool. But I got a bunch of little books over there, and this will just add to the pile. I just like them. Just something fun to look at every now and again. And there's something else I had, which I think is DC's version of Essentials, is these little books I have here. This one is Showcase Presents, and it's #1. And it's the first Silver Age appearance of the Phantom Stranger, all the way through. I'm not sure what issue, because his character kind of jumped around in a lot of different books, and this has his different appearances in it too. If he was in, I think, Brave and the Bold and a couple other things, it has all that in there, and it's in black and white. So I'm really kind of excited about this. There's a lot of Neil Adams in here. In each chapter they show the cover, so it's a really cool cover. Look at that. So this will be in my ever-growing and slowly dwindling read pile over here. So I'm super pumped to get this, though, because I've never read a Phantom Stranger issue. So this will be good. I can read all of them now. I love the covers. So that was, I guess, kind of a haul. And I kind of had a slow week, a very slow week on eBay. As I said last week, my really dwindled down. My watch list never grew over 20 issues. I only bid on one item this week. It was an EC book that ended last night. I didn't win. I had Reaper Tate on. I was texting back and forth with him. I told him which book I was trying to get. He was watching it with me, and I put in my bid at the very last possible moment, and somebody else came in. It might be someone with Snipe software or something like that. I'm not going to get into that. If someone wants to do that, they can go nuts. To me, it just takes the fun out of it if you let the computer do it for you. But it's okay. It was cool. It was a cool book. It was something I would have liked to have had, but I'm sure another opportunity will come up, and it's weird, and that leads me into my sermon today. I think it's really, really important. Instead of just once in a while, I think more often, for me at least, I need to really think about why I collect and why am I collecting. And sometimes I get caught up in, and I really did when I got back into the hobby in 2013, because when I was younger I didn't have the time or the funds to go out and get everything. When I came back this time, I did, and my kids are mostly grown or in college or graduated already, and you get older, you have a little bit more disposable income, and I've been selling books, so I have, I had a lot of, I guess, what I always call my comic war chest, and it would have been real easy just to go nuts and say, okay, I'm going to get all the Avengers from 1 all the way up. I'm going to get all the Fantastic Four, all the X-Men, and 25 long boxes would have turned into 100 long boxes really, really quick, and I don't think that would have made me any happier, or I would have enjoyed it as much. If I was into just collecting a series of things, it would be much cheaper to go out and say collect all baseball cards, something like that were cheap. If that's why you're doing it, I think you got to really sit and think about, why am I into this? Am I into this because I want to show off stuff on YouTube or impress my circle of friends or whatever, and or am I just trying to complete a list? Am I getting this because someone else said it was cool, or do I really like it? And I know for me, what I've been doing the last, month or so, really since that Lake Effect haul, really thinking about why I collect and what I like, and I just enjoyed reading the old stories. I love the art. I think is my favorite part of all of it. That's why I kind of am more of a cover collector than anything, and I think I really am sure that I want to go after the big books now and let go of a lot of these other run things that I have. Dropping off those last few boxes of Copper Modern Age was like a weight being lifted off my shoulder, and now I'm excited that the bronze books will be done, and all I'll really have left then is my personal collection that's in the file cabinets, and then I have about, I don't know, 8 boxes or so downstairs where I process comics, short boxes. And they're all full of, really good stuff. I'd say books that are worth 20 to, $100. So those will be going too, because it's nothing that I, really have a burning want to keep. So I'm just going to keep going with the process. But when you first think of that, you got to, at least for me, I have to sit and let it percolate in my brain to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. Because the worst thing would be is if you went and sold all this stuff and then you felt bad about it. I was in the LCS yesterday, and the guy was telling the owner he had no comics. He sold everything he owned off, everything. I mean, nothing. He kept nothing. And I just was thinking, I can't imagine doing that. I mean, I could see selling off 99% of it, but there's some stuff that I got when I was 5, or people have given me as gifts over the years, and there's no way I'm letting that go. I'll hang on to that stuff, and until I'm not here anymore, I suppose. So but I guess if the fire's gone and you don't want to collect anymore, I guess it makes sense. But I don't ever see myself being that way. Anyway, that's what I have to say for that. I did watch XFiles last night. It's the 2nd episode of this season. It was much better. So I said I'll be eating my words last week. I guess I am a little bit. It looked like it was a different director or something, because it had the old X-Files filming, lighting, everything about it just seemed different. It was campy. There was a couple times there was a few eye roll moments for me. They did the very clichéic, holding that you're bringing a prisoner into this facility, and I'm just thinking, Roy, I really hope that you can't get into a facility by winking at a guard. It was just kind of silly. And then Mulder actually made like that gag face to Scully at one point in it, and I just like, ugh. But it was better than the other ones have been. We'll see. I guess I'm not going to be sad, I guess, when it's over. I don't know that they can bring back what they had. I just hope they tie up everything in a nice neat bow at the end. That would be great. We'll see. So it's decent. So it's no longer this. I'd say I'm like that. Kind of halfway on it. So watch it at your own risk, I guess, is my recommendation. And I just want to talk about 2 new YouTubers out there. This isn't a shout out. I don't like shouting out so much, but it's 2 guys that I just started watching their stuff. One of them last week. One of them is, I think, just this week started. His handle is ECEd. He's been around, I think, a long time as far as collecting. He went through his history, and he's got 2 videos up now, and I think he was very active on the CGC boards before. He's predominantly an EC collector. He loves Mad Magazine. I'm really interested in seeing what else he shows, and hearing about his history and how he collected and everything. It's funny because it runs a parallel when I have a good friend here, Mike, that is roughly the same age as me, and as you tell your story, it's funny how we all end up, because like ECEd, he came back into the hobby in 2012, and that's the exact same year I came back to it after 20 years being out, and his was a very similar story. So it's interesting to see how people progress and things like that. I mean, he's from Georgia originally, so I'm from upstate New York, so it's interesting that we had similar paths to collecting and then leaving and then coming back again. The other one is he's an older collector. I think he's in Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania, I would guess. I think he said Mars Drugstore is where he used to buy his stuff, and I'm pretty sure Mars, Pennsylvania is central, near State College, if I remember right. But anyway, it's the Silver Age guy. He's got off the rack Silver Age books that he bought, and he's shown his Avengers and Fantastic Four, and I believe X-Men. But he bought these off the rack, and he's now going back and kind of completing or filling in stuff that was missed or that he doesn't have anymore. But it's an interest. It's interesting. To me, looking at how everyone out there collects and what how they got it, is far more interesting to me than just showing that this, and unless you tell why this is special to you or why you like it, it's great. If this is just here and it's like, here's how much this is, or this is going for this much. There's a segment out there, collectors, that like that, and that's cool, but it's just not what I'm into. I like hearing the stories behind how you collected or why you got into it, and that's the most interesting part to me. So check those 2 guys out. if you like my channel, I think you probably like those two guys. It's very similar, I think. We had a great chat Wednesday night with Nick and Anthony and I. It was pretty funny, pretty active. Probably more, I haven't been keeping track, but I think more people tuning in than we've had yet, and it's kind of fun. I like, while we're talking back and forth, and I watch the chat, and it kind of takes on a life of its own. It's kind of interesting. So, but that's my weekend review, and I did get a book on my cross-off 2018 list, so I'll probably be showing that next week. We'll see. My buddy Mike was able to pick it up for me. He texted me pictures of it, and he negotiated and bought it for me, and he's so kind as he's actually going to press it for me, so that's pretty awesome. So books like that, not only did I want it, was on my list, but it has special meaning when somebody does something like that for you. So anyway, until next time, keep reading, keep collecting, and keep thinking while you collect. Bye-bye.